Good evening once again, people. We're here, the Imperfect Courtier. This is interview number 3, and today we will be joined, hopefully, by the likes of Cheech Bundy. Some of you may be familiar with him, some of you may not, but today, if you're not familiar with him, you're going to get familiar with him, all right? We're going to try to do this now. Hopefully it works. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. Finally, we made it happen. I can't hear you yet.
You hear me?
I can't hear you.
Ah. You
You
hear me now?
connected to anything?
Can
Like
hear
you
me?
got a Bluetooth on or something? I can't hear nothing. Oh,
Damn.
this fucking sucks. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, hold on. Give me a second. Hold on.
Yo. Can anybody else hear me?
I can hear you now. Hold on. Give me one second.
Okay.
Trying to make. There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. You know what? Fuck this. I'm gonna do it live like this. All right. So yo, what's poppin', baby?
Chilling, man. You already know. Just working, man. Trying to stay busy, trying to stay safe.
That's what's up, man. I'm glad I was able to get you on here today. I've been trying to get a hold of you for a minute just to talk to you, but I've been doing these interviews lately. They go about for 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, and it's called the Imperfect Courtier. And pretty much what I do is I talk to MCs that I respect and that I see that are doing a lot of things in the industry or that are trying to get a buzz in the industry and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, I respect it. Yeah, I definitely been paying attention to you as well, man. So I respect it.
That's what's up, brother.
And got
That's what's up.
So you already know.
That's what's up. All right, Cheech. For those that may not be familiar with you and your journey in music, tell them a little bit about yourself.
So yeah, I'm an MC, producer, engineer. Been doing music shit forever, man. But mainly, I've been on the scene and the rock. Shit, I don't want to date myself too much, but fuck it, who cares? You know what I mean? So I've been doing
Fuck
this
it,
shit
man.
since,
Look at the grades, my nigga. Look at the grades. I ain't worried about it.
Yeah. But yeah. I've been doing it since the early 2000s. When I first started, a lot of people knew me as Figs.
Figs,
Music,
okay.
Figs. I put a few projects out back then, and then ended up signing a production deal. Ended up getting caught up in a few different situations, production deals, and this and that in the music industry, and ended up slowly figuring out my way, out of those situations. And then I want to say like 2000, maybe around like 08, 09, I ended up being given the name Cheech Bundy. That was basically a name that was given to me, just by friends and shit that were around. I heard the name, ended up running with it, and it just ended up turning into something.
Did they ever explain to you why?
It was just because of the amount of weed that I smoke. And the type of shit I be doing, I'll be smoking weed and I'll be doing shit at the highest level. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the whole the high functioning stoner, all that shit came from.
Okay.
So it just became its own thing. But really, yeah, man, I'm born and raised in Iraq. I mean, people who are from Rochester already know I went to Douglas, went to East High. You know what I'm saying? So. So yeah, I've been around for a minute in the city. You probably, a lot of people used to see me driving an SL 600 back in the day. The shit from Paid in Full back in the day.
Okay.
That was a big thing. The V12. So I'll be riding around. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. It's been a long journey, man. It's been a long journey.
Okay, when I first heard about you, I might have heard about you maybe 5 to 6 years ago. And I'm originally from the Bronx, and I moved here to the Rock. You know what I mean? And I've been here for 10, going on 11 years now. And when I first heard about you, I heard about you from somebody who's actually on the live right now. His name is Vision Froid, he
Hmm.
actually posted one of your projects. I think it might have been the Chronic L's of Cheech Bundy.
Yeah, yeah, that shit
And
set it off. That
yeah,
project set everything off. Believe it or not, that shit was kind of crazy. So,
yeah.
funny story about that project. I ended up, so when I got out of the production deal I was on, so I was signed to a label called Masquerade, and they worked out of there's a studio, a real popular studio out in Penfield, um, that I used to work out of basically.
Okay.
And so I signed a production deal, did a bunch of songs for a bunch of people, writing for people, doing collabos with people. I got projects honestly that never came out. So
Okay.
ended up just getting really frustrated with that situation. And as soon as I got out of that situation, one of the things I needed to do was basically change the name. And I ended up developing a whole new project. So the first project that I did after that deal was the Chronic L's of Cheech Bundy. A lot of
Okay.
people don't know. I produced every joint on that. I
Oh wow.
engineered, yeah, produced every joint on that, engineered that project, massive, basically everything that you could do. I ended up doing it. But it was cool because everything that I learned in the situation I was in, I was able to apply to that. So put that out on some real experimental type shit. That shit was like something that a lot of people never heard anything like that before.
Yeah.
Mainly just because I was figuring shit out. But what ended up happening, I ended up moving right close to where you're from, Crotona.
Okay.
So I ended up moving right uptown, right uptown. I ended up moving right off of Dykeman, and
mm, mm.
that project had just came out when I was out there, and I was pushing it. Dat Piff, I was pushing it on Dat Piff. A few media outlets picked it up, and long story short, the homie Illmind ended up hearing a couple of joints on it,
Which
and
I was gonna ask you about that song too.
yeah. So Illmind ended up hearing, I forget exactly which song it was, but there was a song on it, and he was just like, he hit me up, and he was just like, yo, where you at? Where you from? Like, didn't know where I was, didn't know, really know shit about me. And he was like, yo, this is crazy. He's like, this has like a J. Ruta Damager type of vibe. He's like, if this shit would, we could get this shit popping out in like in Brooklyn and all the hipsters and yada yada yada. So it was just like, I was like, oh shit. Like, so it kind of like, I started building that project, kind of set me up for a lot of the relationships that I have now. That project kind of put me in the right place at the right time to kind of develop certain relationships that push me forward.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay. Illmind heard you from where? Like where? How did he pick up the album? Where
that
did he
piff,
hear it from?
that piff.
That Piff. That Piff. All right. So what did you do? Like, did you pay for like some kind of sponsorship on
Yeah,
that Piff? Like, be on the front page?
yeah. Paid for a sponsorship, put it on the front page. I don't even know. It might not have. It might have been his people that heard it first that put him on it, and then we just started building that way.
And
Ended
you
up
basically built a relationship from that point forward.
from that point forward. He invited me out to the studio, to his studio. He invited me to his crib first, just to talk about direction. What you wanted to do, blah blah blah. And initially, he wanted to collab. He wanted to just work on music with me. And I just,
Okay.
we just kept building. He would have a session. I'd end up showing up at the session, and he would have events. I show up at various events, and there were events that I was doing too at the time. And it's crazy. It's crazy because just smoking weed actually did a lot for me too. I'm outside of a venue. I'm smoking. I'm smoking a blunt outside of a venue, and some random dude just comes up to me. He's like, "Yo, let me hit that." I'm like, yo, it's like, you want to introduce yourself first? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it ended up being his manager at the time.
Oh, okay.
At the time.
Okay.
So we ended up building outside, and I became real good friends with his manager, the homie Atlas. He might not be on this, but the homie Atlas, anybody who knows, Illmind knows Atlas. So I ended up building with Atlas. And once that happened, it was just like shit. Every time they were in the studio, anytime anything was happening, they invited me down to just come and build and chill with them.
Mm-hmm.
So it just snowballed to the point where, to the point where it was actually Illmind's idea. He had invited me to a studio. He had worked up a pack of beats for me, and this is actually a funny story. So I go to a studio in Midtown, Blast Off Studio in Midtown, and this shit has the craziest system on the planet. Literally 50-story building. They'll shake half the building with this studio. So I'm in the studio. He starts playing music, and he's playing all this new shit that he's been making, and I'm like, nah. I need you to pull out a drive from like '08. Pull out a drive from like '09. I need some boom bap shit. I need that real Illmind boom bap shit. I wasn't really feeling the shit he was playing at first.
Yeah.
So the first joint he played, I passed on it. Then I ended up picking a few, and then finally he went back to the original joint and was like, "Yo, Cheech, you got to do this, man." He's like, "Just trust me, man. Just take this shit, vibe with it, see what happens." So that song ended up becoming This Is For. The song This Is For. I put a video out.
That shit fire.
That shit
fire.
Man. I almost passed on that. Honestly, I'm still getting money off of that track today. Like 5 years later. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I almost passed on that shit too. But
wow.
So yeah, it was organic. We ended up just building. I ended up doing 5 or 6 songs, played them for him, and we again, never released them. We just kept building, just kept doing shit, And the other side of it is, I have a really good team. I have a good management team. Dirk, shout out to Dirk. Good, awesome production team. Like just a lot of people around me that add value. So
okay.
So we ended up just doing end up doing side jobs, basically doing little projects for various people connected to Illmind and his team. I mean, it was so crazy. People thought I was signed to his label at one point when he was first getting it off the ground, and they didn't even and the manager didn't want to tell people I wasn't signed at the time. He was just like, "Yo, fuck it, let it go, just let it ride. Like you part of the team, we just gonna let it rock."
Yeah.
So yeah, man, we ended up doing. Dirk was doing work for them. We ended up collaboing on some video projects and stuff like that.
How did you meet Dirk? How did you meet Dirk?
Man, I knew Dirk for my whole life, basically. So Dirk and I are brother-in-laws.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
he's from Rochester. He's from Rochester also.
Yeah, he's from Rochester as well.
Okay.
So and the way that started, I mean, he basically was always, there's a few people that kind of been around from the very beginning, and he's one of them. So he always had a knack for videography and just art. He just always wanted to be involved in some way, shape, or form. And he always had a creative mind. So as soon as he got that camera in his hand, it was a wrap. He ended up, he picked up the camera.
He shoots all your videos? He shoots all your videos?
Every single video. There's one video that he did not shoot. So I put a video out called Coolin'. It's Coolin'. It's a song off of the Chronic L's of Cheech Bundy.
Mm-hmm.
And the person that shot that is my man Fred Focus shot that. Fred Focus is part of the he's part of Dave East Camp.
Okay.
So I ended up linking with him. Shit, I don't even remember how I linked with him. It was just some uptown shit. But I ended up linking with him, and he ended up listening to the project, and he basically asked me if he could shoot that video. So
yeah.
So the one video that Dirk didn't shoot, Fred Focus shot that, but everything else it's all in house. Try to keep it.
Yo, salute to Dirk. To be honest with you, man, like his eye on the lens and the way he's able to capture you and everything that you do is real fucking dope and real professional. And I really salute you for your professionalism and how you do things. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of us just push it out, you know what I'm saying? And we just keep putting shit, we don't take the time sometimes to focus on the art the way you do. And I've always appreciated that about you since the moment I first seen your videos, you know what I mean? So that's definitely something that I look at and I acknowledge it, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't know you, bro. A lot of people don't know about you. Like, for some reason, I don't know why. You were born and raised here. They should know about you. Yeah. And the shit that you fucking putting out is so fucking hot and it's so dope that it's undeniable. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people like, I've talked to people in the past when I mentioned it, like years ago, and I mentioned you in the beginning, and I'm like, yo, this kid is pretty dope. they would tell me like, oh yeah, but that's like that stoner rap type shit. That's not really like that shit. And I'm like, y'all need to listen. Y'all need to really listen to this kid. And then when you drop that Boom Bap project, there was nothing else to be fucking said, bro. Like after I heard that shit, I said this fucking kid is fucking dope, man.
Word.
And thank you, baby. And so yeah, I said this kid is dope, and people need to actually acknowledge it. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this interview, because I've known about you for a while, and I'm not even from here. You know what I mean? But I know of you being up here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was
so.
It was crazy because the shit really didn't start popping. Like people in Iraq knew me as Fig's music. So if you would have asked them about Fig's music, they probably would have been like, oh yeah, that kid that was doing all those WDKX freestyles, and I was doing a lot of shit on the radio. When I it's not an artist from Iraq. It's not an artist from Iraq that wouldn't know my face. They might not know the name because I have two at this point, but that wouldn't know my face from the era. I mean, this I'm gonna take it back, but Maximilian, rest in peace, Maximilian.
Rest in peace to my brother, for sure.
You know, from Max, from UWAP, you know what I mean? Said Black, like I was in the shits when the shit was really, when we were really trying to get shit going in Iraq, like in the very beginning. So people. So you rock
the Dublins and the Penny Arcades and all of
the Dublins, Penny Arcade, the Montage. I mean, it's funny because I saw some shit with Azariah. I saw Azariah put some music out recently, and I remember having conversations with, it's like me, Azariah, and people don't know this, but like Sycorax before he was Emilio. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, who else was out there that I respected heavily? Rick Rude. Like, there was a lot of people that were in the circuit. You know what I mean? Like, just grinding. But the sad thing is it wasn't until I got to New York City where the shit really started to bubble. And then once Illmind hopped on, then everybody wanted to know what was going on. But the funny thing is, like, none of that was forced. It was like a lot of that shit I didn't even ask for. People were, I kind of just played my position, try to remain patient, and just let shit come, just putting in the work. But it's funny you mentioned that about the Boom Bap Rap project, because before the Chill EP, before any project that I put out, except for the Chronic L's, I wanted to put that out, but I held on to it. I wanted to put it out because I wanted to kill all that confusion. Oh, it's stoner rap. It's like, nah. Before all that stoner rap shit, there's a lot of work and that went into it before. A lot of technical shit that goes into this stoner rap that people don't really understand or focus on. So that project was important, man, to do that, to kill all of that. And I'm glad someone like you, who I respect, it fit its purpose. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure. That really, like, that's something that, like, once I heard it, to my inner circle mainly, I pushed it like, yo, y'all need to check this kid out. This kid is dope, man. Like, don't sleep on him. He's from Rochester. And like, certain people started listening and started waking up and started seeing what you're doing. And, and I still feel like they still don't know, at least the newer people, that they really don't know what you got and what you bring to the table. You know what I mean? Yeah. So being able to have this opportunity to talk to you was great, bro. I have a couple of talking points here that I wanted to talk about. One thing that's big that a lot of people that listen to your music know is that you're a big time, like, marijuana advocate, right? And everything, like, you got songs that talk about it and everything. And another question I have for you is, did you move to, like, Arizona or somewhere, like, in the desert, or did you just take trips there? Or?
Yeah. So this is how the journey went. Started in Iraq, ended up moving to New York City. I was in New York for like 5-6 years. And then I ended up having opportunities in Atlanta with some people I was working with. So a lot of people don't know, aside from the artist shit that I do, like I said, I do a lot of production. I do a lot of behind the scenes shit. Ended up getting into a lot of writing circles and other things like that. So I ended up out in Atlanta for a couple of years, working with a writing team, working on music. I did a bunch of shit out there. And then shortly after that, I ended up moving to out here. I'm out in the desert right now, son. I'm on that fucking Indian reservation right now.
I believe it. I believe it. The pictures you be posting, man, is beautiful, man. Beautiful scenery, man.
Yeah.
And you have, is your personal label called Third Person Perspective? That's what you signed to? And you're the owner of the label? Or?
Third Person Perspective is a company that I have ownership in. So that would be like the umbrella. That would be like the multimedia conglomerate. And then underneath that, you have High Functioning Stoner Entertainment as well. So High Functioning Stoner is more of the visual side. So that's a production company underneath the umbrella. But then there's other companies there's a publishing company that I'm a part of, and there's a few other things that I'm a part of too.
That's dope. That's dope. Well, I've been checking out all the music. This past week, I've been trying to do as much research as possible. You know what I mean? And I noticed that you delve into different genres too, besides hip hop. You know what I mean? And I noticed there was two songs that had a different feel. One was Bottom Chick, and the other one was Smoky Island.
Yeah.
And they kind of have I don't want to say techno, I don't want to say Afro beat, but kind of has like somewhat of that feel, you know what I mean? And I really enjoyed those songs because it showed like your willingness to take a chance, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny you mention those songs because I always consider myself an MC's MC, but at the end of the day, when an MC does some shit like that, you run the risk of alienating a lot of fans.
Of course.
It was interesting because I had a lot of people hit me up, yo, what the fuck, son? Why you doing it? Ah! Like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, just as many people did that, I ended up opening up a whole new fan base because of those songs and writing opportunities. So because I ended up stepping out of the traditional rap genre and doing the Bottom Chick and doing the Smoky Island being a big one, that ended up opening the door for other artists to reach out and other companies to reach out for my services, basically, just to write. So
okay.
So
and I like when it comes to you writing for another artist, like do you get your writer's credit, or is it like a payoff and that's it, and you don't get any publishing, or do you also work the publishing?
It goes both ways. So it goes.
Okay.
It depends. It can depend, but for the most part, like everything that I'm doing now. So shout out to another person, my manager, Jeff Yu, the U Group. Anybody? He has a company called the U Group, and he has a publishing company called Quantum Mirror. So he was an integral part of it. He's an integral part of my career. Like all these people that you're talking about, I'm just like every other rapper out there. Like if it wasn't for my squad or for my team, I would just I would put shit out every fucking day. I wouldn't polish it. I wouldn't do anything. Like I've gotten into fights with management over, me just wanting to do it my way or wanting to do this, wanting to do that. So I respect what you were saying and giving me credit for it, but I can't take the credit because I'm no different than any other artist. I'll put shit out no matter what. But the team that I have has been able to really help me provide the direction, provide opportunities. So yeah, man, it's been a lot of the writing shit that I've been doing has all come from management presenting that stuff to me. It's not like I go out and I'm looking for it. It's basically people reaching out to management and coming at me with that. But so for the most part, everything that I do is going to be back-end publishing. So you would have to know my government. You would have to know the government. You have to go on ASCAP. You had to go all it's all that back-end stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So
definitely.
Yeah, the other thing, and I think I mentioned it to you when we were getting ready to do this, but so are you familiar with 88 Rising?
Yes.
So 88 Rising, I'm basically doing all of the work that I've been doing over the past few months has been for their camp.
Oh wow.
So it's all their artists. Yeah, low key.
That's ill.
So yeah,
that's fucking ill.
So yeah, and it's funny because the history with them goes back. We did Dirk and I ended up basically doing. They paid us basically to do a video for one of their artists, essentially. And that relationship, from that relationship, it just kind of snowballed again. You know, they didn't even know I was an artist at that point. And then eventually it just kind of grew. I ended up doing shows with one of their biggest artists, ended up opening up for one of their biggest artists in New York. And here we are, literally like 4 years later, I'm writing for multiple artists on their camp. Getting placed.
Oh, wow.
Crazy shit.
That's dope, brother. Congratulations on that. You know, that's a dream come true for a lot of people, brother. And you achieved that. So that's dope. I want to see big things come in the future. Another question I have for you. You also did a track called Hip Hop Nerd featuring Blu from the West Coast, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One of my favorite artists.
And you guys went ham. Everybody went ham on that shit. But how did that relationship come about?
That again, I've always just been a big fan of Blu. So I ended up, you know, just reaching out through Instagram, reaching out any way that I could reach out, I would just reach out. And ultimately, that shit ain't get me nowhere, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Okay, I believe it.
What ended up happening though is management. My manager just ended up reaching out to his manager. Ultimately, he ended up listening to the music. Come to find out, he was familiar with the music already because of like a DJ booth that posted some shit, and he was already aware of it. He just didn't know that I was hitting him up. He's kind of in his own. You talk about somebody who's doing his own thing on his own time.
Yeah,
that's a guy that's one of those dudes. So so he, as soon as he heard the record, he was just like, yo, like immediately he was just like, yeah, I got to get on this. So I sent it to him. And he might have had that shit back in like a day and a half, fam.
That's so dope.
Word.
That's so dope when you can get a feature back that fast, right?
Word. I heard the verse. I mean, it was no back and forth, no nothing. That shit it just came. It was just like, yo, this is exactly it. Like, that was it. Similar situation with Michael Christmas. Like Michael Christmas, I don't know if he was bubbling heavy around the time, kind of fell back a little bit, but he's still doing his thing. But Michael Christmas is another one of those artists that has like a cult following. Just, I respect everything he does lyrically. He's funny as shit. And it just was one of those things where it was like, I was real proud of that record, putting that together, man.
That was really dope, man. Another dope joint that caught my ear. Another joint that I enjoyed which was also kind of different and experimental. I think you put out in 2019 was Campfire.
Yeah.
I like Campfire. The reason why I like Campfire, which I mean, a lot of people might like. I get a lot of shit sometimes because my taste for music can sometimes be kind of eclectic, you know. Mm-hmm. So like what I may like, a lot of my niggas that be around me might not like, but I fuck with it. And that Campfire, I really like because it kind of took me to where the pictures that you post.
Yep.
When it kind of took me there, you know what I mean? So like, exactly. I was able to sit down and just smoke a blunt and listen to that track. And when you're talking about looking at the trees and like talking to the trees or some shit like that, I'm like, that was like I visualized it. So that's pretty dope as an MC that you have that capability. A lot of rappers don't have the capability of telling a story, even if it is in short increments. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. I got a whole project that's basically that. Like I got a whole project sounding like that, and really what the holdup is, it's funny you say that because that's the one video I've been dying to do a video for. Like we've been the Corona hit and that shit just fucked everything up, fam. But we were like that song specifically is a song that we already been plotting doing a video for, just haven't been able to do it justice yet. Just cause
you definitely got to do a video for that. That's very unique, very different. And you know, you pushing the culture forward, man. I appreciate shit like that. A lot of underground rappers just want to hear the typical boom bap shit all the time. And I like when I hear MCs take chances. I mean, I've taken chances on projects that I've done myself, you know, harmonizing and doing different things that people would typically frown upon. The regular hip hop purists would frown upon. You know what I mean? But I appreciate when you do shit like that. Another track that was kind of not similar to that, but had kind of like the same feel was Organic. In the song Organic, you say the same goes with you. You don't need a crew. You just need a view. The takeaway is a makeaway. Don't be afraid. So what I've noticed when I was noticing you, and throughout the time that you've been rapping, I've noticed that you have been kind of on this solo tip. You know what I mean? You've always you got your team of directors and shit like that, but you don't have a team of rappers and shit like that.
Right.
Is there a particular reason, being that I picked out those lyrics? Is there a particular reason why you don't have a crew of rappers, or why you tend to do things more by yourself?
Ah, man, that's a good question, man. I mean, honestly, it's just easier to do it that way. I like to do shit at my own time. You know what I mean? So it's like, it really is. It wasn't always that way, but it's like the more I do it, the more I travel, the more I experience shit. It's just like, in order for me to do shit on my own time, I kind of got to remain in my own space and isolate myself to a certain extent. So it's just kind of like with the growth and with having your idea and wanting to implement your idea, trying to keep away outside distractions, all that shit. It's just all a part of the artistry and just growing as an artist. So it wasn't always that way. I mean, there was a time when I did have a circle of artists that I was rocking with, and I was always, worried about what the next person was doing, worried about what this person was doing. And then I just started to realize, like, that shit fucks up the whole artistry. That shit fucks up your whole flow. It fucks up the timing. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, when that song was made, I was in a space where it was just like, I don't give a fuck about what anybody has to say about anything I'm doing. I'm just doing it.
Yeah. That's dope, man. That's dope. And I respected the fact that you actually said that, because a lot of people feel the need to be part of teams and shit like that. Like most of my hip hop career, I've been part of different, teams and shit like that. I was part of a team when I was a young kid. Then I was in a 3-man group. We had like deals on the table that didn't fall through, shit like that. And then fucking I came up to Rochester. I started messing with Hex Nation, and I've been with them, and I still rep them, but I've always done my own thing. You know what I'm saying? I've always put my projects together alone, and I basically formed everything by myself. And I always put the team's name on my shit. But it's like you say, sometimes when you focus on everybody else and you focus on like 2 or 3 or 4 rappers in a team and shit like that, you can't really put a lot of focus into what you're trying to do and get the best out of what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
So, I definitely respect what you do, your movement, how you do it. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about was your new video. I definitely want to touch on your new video with Nitty Scott, the beautiful Nitty Scott MC. I told you that day that I saw the clip, I said I was jealous, my brother. You got to you got to stand next to Nitty. My girl was like, "What the fuck you jealous about, nigga?" I said, Nah, you got to understand. This is like one of the illest female MCs out there, and I thought that was really, really dope. Like, I just got caught up with the image first of the clip, and then I went back and I heard the whole song, and I'm like, man, this is a beautiful fucking song, bro. Like,
appreciate it.
It's not just like a rap song. It's you can I let my daughter hear it today.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? I don't just let my daughter hear anything. You know what I'm saying? So I let my daughter hear that shit today, and she was like, "Who is this?" And I'm like, "Yo, he's from Rochester. Like, this dude is really dope." And she's like, "Wow, this is dope." And then she heard Nitty, and she's like, "Man, she's really dope." And I'm like, "Ain't she really dope?" So it was dope that you put together not only a dope song but it was a beautiful visual. Shout to your man Dirk. Shout to your man Dirk, for putting that together. But it was really well put together. The whole making the scrambled eggs on or the omelet.
Oh, my bad.
The whole making the scrambled eggs on the omelet on the stove and laying in bed, and it was a very, very beautiful visual, man. I just want to give you a lot of credit on that and salute you for that, because people are not taking the time to showcase love on the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because I get people every day hit me up, and it's a lot of people dealing with just day-to-day, relationship shit. So I get shorties hitting me up because of that song, thanking me for putting out a song like that. It's like,
for sure.
I haven't heard nothing like this. That shit literally just happened like 15 minutes ago when I was trying to get onto the live. I had shorty hitting me up about that song. I'm just like, man, this is dope. But yeah, that was the whole point. As soon as I heard the beat, You know,
Hmm.
that song was done. I ended up doing that song. I had three. It was a 3-verse song that I did by myself. And again, when I was running around New York, I was doing shows. I think we were at SOB's something, and I ended up running into Nitty.
You were backstage at Asher Roth show.
Yeah, but
your man Dirk just told us right now.
oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, backstage at the
Ah,
Asher Roth show.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yes, yes. That's right. For real. And yeah, it was a funny conversation with Nitty Scott. This is back when Nitty Scott wasn't doing anything sexy. Like she was on some straight rap shit. She wouldn't even wear a skirt. And it was funny because I remember having a conversation with her, like just, you know, we were just building just on some regular shit. And I was just like, and Dirk was with me. I'm like, yo, Nitty, you gotta take off the fatigue shit. You gotta put on something sexy. I'm like, I know you don't want to do it.
Yeah,
I know you don't want to do it, but just do it
yeah,
for me. Just do it one time. Just you got a whole lot of fans. That's not gonna feel like you're taking away from your artistry or your craft if you do this. Like just think about it. Just think about it. And you
yeah.
could tell she really retained it. And from then we just started building. And I think Dirk had the idea. He was just like, yo, Nitty would be perfect on this shit. So from there it was just like we just again just being out and about, you know what I'm saying? Just building with people naturally.
Well, it was a great song, man. I really enjoyed it. My daughter enjoyed it. Another thing I enjoyed about it was the actual album cover on the song cover on Spotify is a picture of you and your daughter, correct?
Correct. Yeah,
How old is your daughter? How old is your daughter right now?
she just turned 5.
Oh, that's beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah,
Definitely. So she's already going to school and all that, huh?
yeah. They got me out here. They got me teaching pre-K right now, fam.
Yeah.
I can't make music and teach pre-K at the same time. I don't know, man. It's just crazy.
You got to do what you got to do. The kids come first. You know what I mean? You got to try to balance it out.
But yeah, a fun fact with that joint. So if you listen to Nitty's verse, she ends that verse basically saying she's gonna bless me with a daughter, and she did that,
Mm,
and that happened actually. That was actually 5 years ago. So she actually predicted that shit before it happened, which was
mm.
crazy, which is why that the artwork and all of that it came together because she legitimately predicted the birth of my daughter on that song, which is crazy.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. Well, that's great, brother. What do you have coming up next? Besides, like, are you working right now on something in particular? I know you say you're taking care of your kid, but are you working on a project coming up soon?
So yeah, the main thing I've been working on, like I said, I've been doing a lot of just writing projects. So
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm working on like 4 different writing projects right now. One of them is for a Japanese group that's trying to break into the
Mm-hmm.
U.S. I got another artist that's really dope. This dude Jackson Wang. Um, People should look him up. He's got songs on Disney right now. He's doing his thing. So I'm working on his project, and there's a couple of other artists within the under the 88 Rising umbrella that I'm working with. So a lot of time is
Okay.
focused on that right now. But
Okay.
aside from that, I got 2 albums just on deck, ready to go, and just releasing singles. Really, just waiting for the
Mm.
right time. Waiting for the right time. It's like the way I put Boom Bap out, and it was like that was kind of like damn, man, I didn't. It felt like albums didn't feel like the right thing to do anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
like I
Yeah, it
literally
felt like
had
more like singles was the way. Like more like singles was the way to go.
yeah. It's like why not put out 12 singles a year? You know, I said why not put out 20 singles a year? And
Yeah,
at the end of the day, let the fans put together their own album based on those singles.
makes sense.
So that's like if you look at last year, what I was doing last year, I think every 4 weeks I was putting out a single, trying to put out a
Hmm.
single, some sooner, some later. And this year, same thing. I'm just gonna start putting out singles, just putting out singles after single after single after single, and then eventually, when the time is right, put out the project.
Okay. All right. Well, that's dope, man. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and actually build. You know what I mean? It's it's been a long time coming. You know what I mean?
No
We've
doubt.
known of each other for a long time, and we both respect each other. We both respect each other as MCs. So it's pretty dope when we can get together like this and chop it up. That's the purpose for these interview segments, and that's why if you read the 48 Laws of Power, the Perfect Courtier, this is called the Imperfect Courtier, because I can sometimes create relationships, but may have a hard time sustaining them for long periods of time. So I'm just trying to change that in me, you know what I mean, and work on that. And I'm trying to use these segments as not only that, as therapy for myself, but also as a way to work myself into my next project, which will be titled the same thing, The Imperfect Courtier. So I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you coming on and taking the time to do this with me. Like I told you, they're about 35 minutes, 40 minutes. I think we went a little further than that, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. And hopefully this won't be the last time we speak.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
feel free to hit me whenever, brother. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm probably a little older than you. I probably can't help you in career-wise, but if you need any kind of talk about anything or you need to vent, you can always holler at me, brother. You know what I mean?
You already know. You already know. I appreciate it.
Salute to you.
And I want to tell you, I want to say to you, thank you for taking the time to even do the research, to ask the questions, to reach out to me, all that shit. Like, what you're doing for the culture is dope. And one of the things I think people need to understand is don't be afraid to pivot. You know, don't be afraid to pivot and do something different.
Gotcha.
Which is what you're doing. That shit is dope. When I found out that you were doing this, I was just like, oh man, that shit is dope. Before you even asked me to do it, I was on it. So
word? That's what's up.
Yeah, that's why that's why it was nothing. As soon as you asked me, I was like, yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Definitely, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you having that appreciation for me. You know what I mean? Yes, it means a lot. It means a lot. But I'll be reaching out soon. I'm gonna continue to support everything you're doing. You want to give the people your socials, your social media, and all that stuff, or where they can find your music?
Yeah, everything. So I mean, it's simple. At the end of the day, Cheech, like Cheech and Chong, Bundy, like Al Bundy. So just Cheech Bundy, everything.
Cheech Bundy.
Find me. That's it.
Okay. All right, for sure, brother. Thank you so much, and blessings to you, and much success in the future to you, brother.
All right, my guy. Be safe.
Peace.
Peace, man.